So two things that I want to cover. These are going to be, I guess we could put this under native and indigenous news resistance in America, because as I say in one of these articles, that what we're seeing is not just a revival of American Indian, Native American resistance, but this is the modern version of the American Indian movement. You know, if you don't know the history of them, I've done some videos in the past on how they occupied Alcatraz Island. They had the last gunfight with the federal government in the 70s at Little Bighorn, and done all these amazing things, and were really radical activists in that time period, and things sort of settled down. But there's the youth again is kind of rising up and coming in, and they're really just mixed of tribes all around the country, standing up for Native causes and Native people that need defense, and even in Native communities where they might not necessarily realize that they're under attack. And this is what I say in that, is that this is just the continuation of that, because it's also the continuation of colonization that is happening to Native people. One of the articles covers Senator John McCain, as I said, who's already kind of come under fire for his involvement in the Oak Flat deal. And he was speaking in Arizona on Navajo land for a presentation to the Navajo code talkers from World War II. And he was also meeting with some Navajo officials, local officials as well, apparently to talk about water rights. So this has some people scared that, you know, McCain's coming to sneak another deal in. And often what I will say from my experience on you know, in certain communities and on certain reservations, is that you find that the Native communities themselves are often divided between the people who are trying to maintain the ways and keep the traditional ways alive, and those who are sort of already westernized, Americanized, and willing to make compromises, maybe unsavory compromises with unsavory people such as John McCain, in order to save what they can. And then there's others who are really trying to preserve the ways and preserve the land, and not sell out to this system of colonization that has slaughtered and abandoned and just attacked their people for 500 years plus. So there's a lot of there's a lot of different viewpoints in here. But as I said, the youth are really rising up. I got to meet these guys in Oak Flat, and some of the same people were here at the Navajo meeting in where is it? Window Rock, I think it is. And you have two incidences of John McCain getting trolled. One is a young dude, like 17 years old, senior in high school. Young Navajo man comes up to John McCain and pulls the old switcheroo, goes up to shake his hand, right? And then right as he's shaking his hand, he pulls out this little card that says protect Oak Flat. And John McCain, you know, flipped out and throws the card back at him and says, you need to leave. And then the kid respectfully just walks off and leaves. But of course, John McCain tries to act like it doesn't bother him. Then later he was interviewed about Oak Flat, and he said, historians have attested to the facts that Oak Flat is not anything to do with sacred grounds. Several historians have attested to that. I respect people's right to disagree. So basically saying these young kids are misguided. This is how they always try to paint you. The people in power, the establishment, whatever you want to call them, the ruling class, from the the local level and city council. I've dealt with this hundreds of times. They try to demean you and act as if you're just, you're chicken little, your ideas, your concerns are unnecessary, they're unwarranted, they're coming from a simple-minded person who doesn't really understand how complicated things are. And that's just a way to demean you and your cause and to make you less than human. And this is definitely what the goal is with Native peoples, to make them to appear to be less than human so that the colonization and the destruction and oppression can continue. As McCain attempted a backdoor exit, the activists chanted in the hallway with their arms linked. Once they noticed McCain's convoy making an escape, the group began chasing on foot. They were temporarily blocked by law enforcement, but eventually made their way out of the building, chasing the cars as they exited the Navajo Nation. So you can see in this video, please do watch the video. It's awesome seeing these brothers and sisters. They come in the building, they sit down, they do kind of like a sit-in. They're chanting and playing drums and singing their songs, and then they chase after him all the way off the reservation, chase his whole little caravan. So then once the reports started going around, including this article, which has been seen by 53,000 plus people, the videos have been seen by another 50,000 plus people. So, John McCain, obviously, his campaign, they're realizing they're taking heat. They can keep this off the quote-unquote mainstream, actually known as the old stream media. Remember that. Program yourself. Old stream media. They are the old stream. We are the new stream. And he responded saying, His office said Senator McCain was honored. Can we just listen to this first of all? Let me preface this with, get ready for a bunch of bullshit political statement with a one actual sentence referencing the incident. The rest of it just fluff bullshit. And here we go. Senator McCain was honored to be invited by the Navajo Nation to meet with tribal and community leaders and to speak at the celebration of the Navajo Code Talkers on Friday. It was a great visit, and he received a very warm reception from the Navajo community in Window Rock. He certainly wasn't chased off the reservation. This small group of young protesters had no practical impact on his productive meetings with top tribal leaders on a range of key issues, including the EPA's recent Gold King mine spill, which threatens to contaminate the Navajo Nation's water supply. So he comes in acting like he gives a shit. And yada yada yada. So he got trolled twice that day. Woohoo! Awesome, kick ass. Thank you guys for being there and doing that. Anthony Sewell, Cooper Indigenize, all you guys are awesome. And this one is not good news. This article entitled "Colonization Continues. U.S. court denies Native prisoners the right to long hair." Now, first off, some would say, hey, you're a prisoner. If you're in prison, you must have done something wrong. I don't give a shit whether you were able to have long hair or not. Okay, I guess you could say that. Maybe we don't care if a murderer, gets his religious rights. But I'd say once you start denying people rights because of their misgivings and their mistakes, we start down a slippery slope of becoming that which we are trying to fight. And we have to be careful with that. Also, all the other people, all the other religions get to have their particular, prayers and food, etc., that are required for their beliefs. So this is just, again, discrimination against natives. And historically, hair and the length of hair has always been important to a number of tribes around, across the landmass known as United States of America. So, continuation of the colonization, as I said. On August 5th, the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld Alabama's prison policy, which requires male inmates to keep their hair short. Despite the fact that prisons around the country allow long hair with no issues, the federal judge said the Alabama Department of Corrections has valid security and hygiene concerns. Yeah, they're so worried about these guys' hygiene. They're afraid if they let them grow their hair long that they're all going to start getting sick or it's just going to get nasty. The Associated Press reports inmates had told the court that their long hair has deep religious significance and they wanted to keep their hair unshorn because of their beliefs. Their sacred and ancestral core religious traditions are at stake, said the inmate's attorney, Mark Sabell of Montgomery. The department had argued that long hair was a hygiene risk and could be used to conceal weapons and contraband. Now, first, let me tell you this. I've done a little bit of time behind the bars and in those institutions, and they're damn right. People can hide crack pipes and stuff. I've seen people hide crack pipes inside their afros, and girls hide things up in their hair. So that is possible, but that's I think that's a weak excuse, because obviously, as they said before, that across the country people have found a way to deal with this. So find a way, Alabama. Quit being silly.